What's up, my humans? Welcome to another episode of the Conscious Hotline. This is your source for all things conscious and hot. And today is going to be an amazing episode in our career and finance category. I'm going to be interviewing Lauren Tickner, who is the founder and CEO of Impact School, and has actually been one of my own business coaches, and I owe a lot of incredible knowledge and resource to her. So I can't wait to have her here present with us so that she can give you a glimpse into what it's like to have built seven-figure businesses before the age of 23. You know, and what I love so much about working with Lauren is that she's clearly gifted at a very young age, and she is able to channel a lot of expertise into her programs in a way that just elevates the life and lifestyle of people who are out there trying to make a difference in the world. So she is really young, and she's managed to grow her businesses with a lot of success. So I think that's really inspiring. And I think that it just goes to show that with the right amount of grit and resilience and intellect and a bit of risky behavior, you really can have a lot of success in a short amount of time. And it seems like she's cracked the code to a good deal of that. So hi, Lauren. So nice to have you here, honey.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I was just at kickboxing. So I just got back. So I'm feeling blood circulating all the way up to my brain. So I'm on it.
That is such a boss move. That's amazing.
And how about you? You've already worked out this morning too, probably.
Yeah, I went to the gym. Today I did like a bit of a heavier session, but I think working out is just such a good way to start your day. Like, there's nothing like getting the blood pumping. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm grateful that I started integrating those habits, but kickboxing is cool. I mean, everyone watching this, drop in what your favorite type of exercise is. I would love to know.
Absolutely. I love that too. Yes. I'd love to know how people get active and have joyful movement as a part of their routine. You know, I know that for you, it's such an incredible part of your approach, not just to wellness, but I think to keeping yourself fit both physically and mentally. Is that right?
It's everything. Yeah, it's literally everything. I mean, I'm so grateful that I started out like in the I think it cut out there for a second, but I was just saying I'm so grateful that I started out like in the fitness industry because it ingrained these habits into my life ultimately. So yeah.
Yes, yes. And I'm really stoked to talk to you a little bit about your habits and to what you owe.
Has the tech cut out? Or are you guys still here? You cut out. You cut out.
I can see you.
Okay, it's back. It's back.
And I love that you're standing too. I was like, for sure, Lauren's going to be standing. So I'm not even going to sit down. Like, I feel like this is another one of your things.
I can't sit down. Like it just, I don't know, I get so much more energy when I stand. So but anyway.
It's probably one of those little things that, you know, when you read about personal development books or morning routines or how to be more productive, it's always those little tiny things that you don't necessarily take into consideration. Like probably people who pet their dog more probably during the day end up making more money because they have like more oxytocin and they're able to push through the pain.
I actually believe that. I mean, I like to stand because I feel like it means that my back doesn't get sore. Yeah. But at the same time, it means like, I don't know, I can be more creative. I think it's just you're moving around more, right? It's getting the blood flowing, getting those endorphins.
Yes, totally. More flexible. So we like to start our interviews on the Conscious Hotline with a bit of an edgy, dangerous question. Just because we don't have a lot of time and we like to, you know, come in hot and give our listeners a sense of your personality and who you are. So my question to you, Lauren, is when was the last time you had a really cringy moment with yourself? Like when was the last time you did or said something or you were just like, oh, the cringe?
That's such a good question. it's interesting because I feel like so often I'm having like business conversations, especially with the coronavirus. My socializing has been pretty low, honestly. Um, so you know what it was, and it was with my team. I basically have a team of people who are doing lead gen, right, all day long, all night long, lead gen, lead gen, lead gen, and they royally mess up, like as in really, really badly. And so I sent a message in pure anger and I was like, guys, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I put like an angry emoji and immediately I edited the message because I was just like, look, you need to think about how you want to act and give off an image as your future self. So I was acting in a place of my current self, whereas I needed to act as the type of person I wanted to be. And that is not the type of person I want to be. I do not want to be a leader who gives off negative energy. Instead, I want to be a leader who, rather than doing that, is going to empower my team to learn, right? And so immediately I called upon the manager of that department and I said, we need to give them more training. And so we totally redid the, the whole entire training that they go through. And that was a big learning curve for me because I hated myself for the second where I had that message out there. I literally felt this weight on my shoulder, not even my shoulder, my chest. It's like it's a different weight. And I was like, I am not a good person right now. So change that. That was literally a week ago, by the way. Like, I'm not afraid to admit these type of things happen because they happen and they show up. And that's why what I do every morning, and I think you'll like this, is in my morning every day, I write at the top of my journal, tonight I'm going to look back and be proud of, and then I list like 3 to 4 things. And so one of them is acting in alignment with my future self. And when you think that way, it just changes the game, honestly, because I think that you don't make decisions in the moment. You make decisions based upon how you want to be. So for example, if I'm going to like randomly go grab a chocolate bar, I'm going to think like, would my best version of myself do this just randomly throughout the day? No, they wouldn't. They would have like a reasonable amount integrated into the diet in a healthy way. So it's decisions like that. So I know that was kind of long.
No, beautiful.
Okay, cool. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does. It does. And in such an amazing way. And there are a couple of things that you said that I really, really love. The first being that, I coach a lot of high performers. I coach a lot of high achieving people in leadership positions. And there does come a stage fairly early on in their business career where they realize that they're now responsible for their team. And you start taking your own habits and your own self-responsibility to the next level because of that. So I love that that's something that you're also embodying and expressing by saying like, look, how do I want to appear and how do I set a good example from a place of leadership in my team? So that's amazing. And then the second thing is, yes, this mindset of in the day, setting the tone. I do visualize a lot of what I want in the future. And also, I try to coach people on how they're listening to their intuition and their inspiration. And I feel like a really good way to tap into that when you're making an important decision, or a small decision or a big decision, is to ask yourself, will my future self thank me because of this? Am I now doing something that's going to be in benefit to my future self? And you can immediately in your body feel whether that's a yes or a no.
100%. I just couldn't agree more. I mean, I have been saying this since I was about 19 years old. I've been saying, I'm just so grateful that I made those decisions when I was younger. And it's so cool. I can see so many of my clients right now, like popping into this. So, hey guys, it's awesome to see you here. But yeah, so I was just going to say, like, that is probably the most powerful mindset realization that you can have. Because here's the thing, I never realized that was visualization. Okay, I didn't understand that, because you know this, Altair, just as well as you know, anyone, right? I am very much about the strategy, like strategy, strategy, strategy. And when I hear people talk about like visualization, I never quite understand what it means. I understand it in sport and I understand it with regards to like fitness, but I never used to really understand it in business and relationships and everything like that. But ultimately, it's in my, this is my perspective, right? And I think the cool thing about just life is that everyone has such a unique perspective, and that's why people work so well together, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's the saying, and I love it. But it's just like it's all about coming to the realization that what you're going to do today is going to essentially be your tomorrow. And I was actually listening to something just about, you know, health last night. And I already knew this, but I kind of, you know, when you learn something and then you just kind of forget. And basically it was talking about how the sodium that you eat today is the work that your kidneys do tomorrow, right? Because you eat the sodium today and then the next day your kidneys, if you eat too much sodium, have to go into drive. And that's not a problem, and just, you know. But I think it's interesting because like when you aren't able to realize that visualization isn't just imagining like money falling into your bank, right? It's more than that. So I'd love to hear your perspective, honestly, because I think a lot of people do think it's just, you know, I'm gonna see myself signing a client on this sales call. Like, while that is while you see how you're going to show up, I think that is important. But yeah, it would be interesting to hear your perspective.
Oh, well, cool. Thank you for flipping the interview around. Sure. So I think
I
that
do, okay? It's what I do. I'm sorry.
let's dive in. You know, there's an amazing quote by Mother Teresa, and she said, "I used to think that prayer changes the world, but now I realize that prayer changes us, and we change the world."
Mm.
So the powerful thing about visualization or prayer or envisioning or dreaming, you know, I like to talk about dreaming because I was a big daydreamer as a kid. My imagination was huge. And I think that it can be a superpower that all of us employ as we go on to consciously construct our material reality, how it manifests around us. It all comes back to, are you able to have a vision and a belief and a dream that is so strong that you can no longer tell the difference between that dream and who you are today? So it's really important that you are integrating that vision for yourself, that you can see it in yourself now, and you're taking everything out of the way that's in between you and that version of yourself that you want to connect with. So there is this like passive approach to the visualization, to daydreaming. Just visualize it and it will come, you know. But yeah, I just feel like it's because we're in such a yang dominant, like activity, masculine energy dominant culture that people want to like lean back and wait for things a bit more. But there is a danger of coming out of balance with those two energies. It is a harmony of leaning back, dreaming, visualizing, playing in the realm of your daydreams. And then it's so much a part of you that you can't help but take action toward those goals. And it's conscious, inspired, calculated action. It's not a bunch of forced energy, wasted energy. You just like go for it. And I'm sure that, Lauren, whether you realize it or not, you have applied this to your own life in such a way because you've been able to achieve so much at such a young age. You know, so you skipped a lot of steps of, oh, I can't be that person. Right? You just went for it and you're like, actually, I am that person who makes 7 figures and gets to quit my 9 to 5 and live a life that is in alignment with what I really want. And what I'm so curious about to know from you is, you know, I'm really open about the fact that I was born into a family of wealth. And I took a huge detour because There was a lot of like dysfunction in my family. There was a lot of mental illness. I saw money aggravating that. I, became like this starving artist, bohemian hippie at a young age. And I was like, money, I don't need that. And guess what? I didn't have any money and it kind of sucked. So it took me a while to come back around into my relationship with money. And I'm wondering, what was your background and your upbringing? And how did you have to learn to become comfortable around money and around dreaming big about your own wealth and your own legacy?
This is a really interesting one for me, and I'm sure about 99% of the world can probably say the same thing. I think there's two things that everyone has a weird relationship with, right? First thing is their body and food, and second thing is money. It's just, I see it in every single person. I've never met a single person that doesn't have something about their body and food or money. And money, both of them. And so here's the thing with me, like, my family's a really interesting one. Okay, so my mom came from a really, really poor family. So, well, when she was younger, they were really poor. Like my grandma my mom's mom lived in like a room in the very east of London with, I think she had 4 siblings. They were all younger than her, and 2 of them died when she was very young. And it was just all very, very sad. And so I remember her telling me one day that they had a box with toys, like literally like a small number of toys, and that's all they had. They didn't get like candy or sweets or anything. They couldn't afford it. And so that's where my grandma, like my mom's mom, came from. And my mom's dad, I don't really know too much about that, but I think he was kind of quite similar. When they got together, they were really poor because my mom, there was 4 of them as well. And then, so with my dad's side, my dad came from an alcoholic father who abused his wife, so my dad's mom. And so it was like a very good upbringing, but they did have money. My dad's dad owned like a car repair shop, right? That kind of says a lot about the type of person who he probably was. I didn't really know that. And so I had this weird like energy coming in because my brother is 2 years younger than me, and he has epilepsy, autism, various other different learning disabilities. But what would happen, because my parents were together until I was about, I don't know, 18 or so, they basically, my mom like was very always frugal and like very tight, because she'd seen that with parents growing up. And then my dad was, I don't know, just kind of like normal. He had his own business, which he's recently just sold. So, he did well fast, but then at the same time, my mum wasn't able to work because of the fact that my brother was disabled, always needs 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 care now because it's just got worse and worse. For anyone wondering, he has epilepsy, autism, like various other different learning disabilities. So his mental age is about 2 years old, when right now he's 21. But anyway, so we grew up, and I grew up with, a good amount of money. Don't get me wrong. Like, as well, because of my brother, my parents didn't really need to pay for much stuff for him because it was kind of like done by the doctors and everything. And so it's a weird one, because while I grew up went to an amazing school, private education, it was incredible. It's just been so weird, because then when my parents got divorced, my dad was always like very normal with money, is suddenly like no longer, because he has to give half to my mom, and it's just so weird. So I have this weird thing. I mean, I love money and I love making money, but like I don't really care about it, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, I don't really spend money. Like I will always, when I'm shopping, like and this is what I'm trying to get out of right now. I'll always like be attracted immediately to like, the reduced, because my mom would always do that. Whenever we go shopping, she'd be like, let's see what's on the sale, and like it would just be a bit of fun. So it's really weird, because kind of like conflicting. It's a big conflict, honestly, and I think it's something which a lot of people do struggle with, and so you wouldn't think it, because as I said, I grew up, went to an amazing school, multiple different schools, all really, really good, and my friends' parents, like they always had a lot of money, so we grew up like doing really nice things, really nice holidays and vacations and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's like the little things. I'm like, oh no, like I can't like spend money on that. And so I'm just working through that. But yeah, it's weird because I know now and I've seen just from going into like the service-based business model, coaching and consulting, that money purely is just a byproduct of value, right? And so like I think that's why for me it's much more settling going into like a service-based business, because I've tried like e-com businesses, I've tried selling like, you know, ebooks as well. And you don't feel like the impact you're making. And so I think when I know that money is attached to someone, that's when for me it's okay. But if not, I feel this like, I don't know, it just feels kind of immoral to me. But that's again in my head, you know what I mean?
Well, it's incredibly inspiring because I think that it goes to show that you can have conflicting or complex relationships with money, with material resources, and still find a way to be successful in what you do. As long as, you know, and I'm pulling this out of what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but your North Star is providing value and making sure that, and you know, this is something that I just observe, that every day you're excited about work, that you really love what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the thing is of me, like, I'm just innately curious. And I kind of only came to this realization like literally 3 days ago or 2 days ago while I was in the gym. Because like I listen to audiobooks while I'm training and working out. I don't know, I just like it. And I don't remember what they were saying, but it just triggered this thing. And I was like, yeah, like whenever I was in school, even when I was like 2 years old, because they started teaching French when we were 2 years old. And I remember my like parents would always say, you know, I could speak relatively good French while I was still even good at speaking English. And so I just found that really interesting. But whenever my parents then took me like overseas or whatever, I would be really like just interested in everything and just really curious. And it's so true because when I was firstly, I don't know, here's one example. When I'm walking down the street and I see an alley, I have to go down it. Like I just have to go down it. And when I was working in asset management, literally when I was 8 years old, I hate that job so much. That's another story. Like I won't even get into that. But I would be researching things about fitness and nutrition because I stood on my standing desk while everyone sat down so they couldn't see my screen, which is just a whole nother story. But anyway, I would see like a word that I didn't know what it meant, and then I would take that word and put that into Google and then research that thing, and then I'd find words there that I didn't know and I'd take that into Google and that concept. And so it was like always this ripple effect. And one thing that I do now in business, it's like if I have a problem, for example, like let's say my problem is I do not have enough sales and it's really bad, and so that's causing a ripple effect because the sales team don't have enough calls and then and whatever. So I won't say we don't have enough sales. Instead I'll ask, right, I'll turn the situation into a question and I'll ask, why don't we have enough sales? But that's not really good enough, right? Because that's not like that is a problem focused question. However, it's not a targeted problem focused question. Okay, so you need to ask instead, you need to take it one step further. It's like, why don't we have enough sales? Okay, what is causing the fact that we don't have enough sales? Or you could say, why don't we have enough sales? Okay, why don't we have enough leads? It's like you don't just change it into one question. Okay, so there's different and you need to go through all of them so you can find your best answer. Now the reason I'm on this topic, and I won't go further down that rabbit hole unless you want me to, but the reason I bring this up is because I just think that self-awareness and just awareness of situations is so critical, because you can't get to the destination where you want to get to if you don't have that understanding of where you're at now. Now, I think I say this all the time with people who are new clients. They'll complain. And it's because they haven't integrated a mindset which allows them to focus on a very specific solution. And I think this appears in people's lives as well. Like they'll stay in a relationship, like this relationship sucks. It's like, okay, why does the relationship suck? What are you doing to show up as the powerful boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that you need to be? Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's the case of just like rather than explaining a situation, asking the right question. I don't even remember what your question was initially, but there we go.
Well, that's okay because, I just feel like for everyone paying attention, and that's one of the main things we're talking about here as well, is paying attention. Don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep with your life. For me, if I feel like I'm bored, I feel like I'm dying. Maybe you can relate to this. You're bored at your office job. You're like, what would be stimulating to me right now? Okay, I'm going to study something that's genuinely interesting.
My body literally hurts when I'm bored.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling that since I've been young. But I would be interested to know like if other people feel the same way because I find that people who are ambitious like yourself and yeah, like literally all of our clients, like I find that they have that same feeling. Whereas what is interesting to me is how some people are happy with a certain uncomfortable situation. And I'm not about like, take on discomfort, like having a cold shower. I'm talking about like living long term in a situation which you're not happy with.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah,
you naturally have the mindset of someone who's going to invest, right? When you hear about the word investment, you think about money, you think about finances, you think about the city in London, right? But investing is a mindset. And what am I doing today that's literally putting deposits into my longevity account, my anti-aging account, my health and wellness account, my relationship account? Because that's when you tap into that long-term point of view, like you're saying, it's really powerful. Like I'm just learning how to ride a motorcycle. And when you're riding a motorcycle, you have to kind of be constantly looking, okay, 100 meters ahead, and then like follow that back to the present moment. Look again into the 100 meters. And because if there's anything on the road, you could really hurt yourself. But I love this idea of like, yes, be in the present, enjoy the present moment as much as possible, have that reference point in the future, which is going to help you guide that next decision and keep you motivated and alive. And I'm really sad when I see people right now, especially with COVID, they think that they're being risk averse by holding on to the money that they have and not investing in a project that's going to set them up for the long term. It's like the Titanic is going down and they've locked themselves into a room because they're like, I'm going to be safer in here. And you're just like, no, start acting today.
well, that's huge. Well, there's two things I want to touch on. Firstly, I'm pretty sure you actually started with us at Impact School literally on the day the lockdowns all happened. I swear. Wasn't that right? Do you want to just like talk to that for a second? Because like that just goes to show that you actually practice what you preach. Because I think that's one of the most important things for leaders. You need to practice what you preach because how the hell do you have the credibility to ask someone to invest in you when you won't even invest in yourself? I mean, it just makes no sense. And I remember I genuinely, I think I just went to the gym and then we had a call and then that same day the gym shut. I think that was it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes. And that's so true. I'm so grateful to Impact School because when lockdown was starting, I was like, oh shit, like I've been in the coaching biz for like a year. I combine a lot of different things: herbalism, nutrition, mindset, meditation, some shamanic journey work, past life regression. I have a lot of different tools that I use with people. But I was having so much success, like going to LA, meeting people, you're my client, going to New York, you're my client. I was in London, and it's just like you meet interesting people, they're interested in what you do, and bam, bam, bam. I was teaching a lot, I was out in the world. And when I saw what was happening with lockdown, I was like, holy shit, like I need to take my shit online ASAP. And yeah, I had just come back from a lot of traveling. I had been to Colombia for some ayahuasca ceremonies. I had just been in London. I was like bawling, not really paying attention to what was happening in China. Yeah, so it wasn't even like I had a lot of money in my account. Like, I was grateful that Impact School was flexible with me with my payment plan, but I was like, yes, right now, like, I believe in Lauren and what she's doing, and you know, the way that she's going to get me from where I am now to having the ability to offer what I do in the online space. And it has made such a difference for in my life during COVID. You know, I've made a lot of money. Okay, so that's a fact. But the bigger thing is, yeah, I've just been able to connect with clients now all over the world. I had clients in Australia, America, India, you know, so it wasn't just a matter now of me meeting people in person. It was like, wow, the sky's the limit. The entire planet is the limit.
That's awesome. And here's the thing. It's like switching from that sort of like reactive mentality to the, okay, this is what's going on. I need to do something about it. And it really is, you know, you were very conscious and aware of what the hell was going on in the world. And I think that it is very easy to get complacent, right? So, for example, you had all these clients everywhere and you were just bopping about, like living the life. And, you know, you had the ability to travel and such. But I find it fascinating because I think it's such a shame, you know, that complacency is such a killer of so much success, potential success. Because people see what they have now, it's cool, it's fine, like it's adequate, but there's always an opportunity cost to everything, and you don't know what you don't know. Because when you're doing something, you're not doing something else, so you don't know what the opportunity cost is right now. And that's such a hard calculation to make, because it could be that you literally, the opportunity cost could be something bad, but it could be something incredible. And so many people see only the bad, because as humans, that's what we're drawn to. And it's a real shame. And I would love for people to be able to call in their ability to see where they can get to. With your clients, like, what do you see? Is it self-sabotage? Is it self-doubt? What is it that is preventing them from being able to make those investments, not just financially, in themselves?
You know, Lauren, it can be so many different things. Sometimes it's a self-worth issue. They don't think it's available to them.
Right. Sorry.
That's okay. I needed a second to think about this anyway.
Given that this is the hotline.
Yes, exactly. Like, we got people calling in left and right. Like, you have reached the Conscious Hotline. Let us help you achieve your dreams, people. You know, because for every person it's different, but I guess for me, the heartbreaking thing is that there are a lot of systems in place that are actively trying to convince the individual that they can't. You know, so I'm not going to put all of the responsibility on the person with the complacency and the fear and the self-worth stuff.
There are a lot of systems like ingrained in our minds.
Yeah, exactly. So these systems are actively convincing people that they only have one or two options.
Yeah.
So what I love about what I do is I'm here to help people dream bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because really the world is our playground. This life is just an imaginarium. It's a laboratory where we get to experiment and play and push ourselves. You know, but I think that something that you brought up that's really important is the comfort level. So cool. I feel like you could write a book that's like curiosity and comfort zone. You know, like keep striving after your curiosity and keep pushing yourself out of the comfort zone, because that's where you plateau. And you know, I'm a bit riskier than most people. I wouldn't be riding a motorcycle if I didn't have like a thing for danger. But you have to fall in love with danger and risk a little bit if you're going to be successful, because that's what keeps me focused. That's what keeps a fire under my ass. That's what keeps me, there's like a slight amount of pressure. I'm making choices all the time to say, okay, can I have this done by that deadline? Can I make sure that I'm paying now, I'm adding a new member to my team and I'm able to pay them every month? This is what pushes me a little bit more each month, is that little bit of like danger in the background. So I think it's healthy to have that relationship with risk. Would you agree?
So it cut out there for a tiny bit, but I see this in the most successful entrepreneurs. Like they are able to take calculated risk, and it's because they back themselves, right? You have to back yourself. It's not egotistical, it's arrogant. If you have a clear vision and if you have the competency to get there, then you're going to be able to take on risk. I think so many people don't believe in themselves enough because they lack the skill and the ability or the previous success. Because confidence comes both with competency and past success. And if you don't have either of those, then you are just shooting in the dark. And so I think that's why it's important to constantly be learning, constantly be learning. Right now, like I'm taking on 2 huge risks, which I haven't told anyone about. And I'm backing myself, right? I know it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna pay off massively. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna learn something huge. And it's gonna be more powerful probably than, like, I always find the lesson will be more powerful than if it actually had success that time, because it shows that I'm just not at the point in my life where I'm ready. So
beautiful. So much wisdom at such a young age, Lauren. I'd love to do a past life regression with you because I'm super curious. But we have to.
we should do it. I'm so down.
I would love to so much.
I'm so down. Can you like save this on Instagram and download it? I'm gonna put it on Impact School podcast. This has been
Absolutely.
great.
Oh my gosh, no, this is amazing. It's amazing. It's gonna be in our IGTV archive, and we'll be able to download the
I can't wait until we can meet. Like we just get on so well. Like
bless you. I know, me too. I can't wait to come back to London. You know, my little sister, she's traveling from London this weekend, so I know that Switzerland and London for now it's okay. Like let's just keep
real because I need to go travel. Like, shall I come to Switzerland?
Yes.
Like I'm not even joking though.
You can be my first guest of honor in my new apartment, which I have been able to finance as a result of investing in Impact School. So I think that it would be very appropriate.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, but for real though, like let's actually talk about this like offline because I'm so serious right now.
I would love it. I would love it. So to wrap up, Lauren, I just want to ask you one final question. You know, I'm curious, like, what is your next big dream?
Oh my gosh, well, 2 of them I actually can't say. I know that's like really, really annoying. So do you want my next big dream or like my ultimate big dream?
Oh my gosh, ultimate.
Okay, I want to cure epilepsy. That's my ultimate goal. Yeah, and so that's like what is my North Star. When it comes to like more short-term stuff, my goal is to impact the lives of 1 million people who have businesses or like, you know, businesses or things that they do to help other people. And so it's going to become very apparent what I'm doing with that to make sure that we hit those numbers.
Wow.
I set a deadline for the year 2030. But I do think that it's probably going to be feasible sooner with the thing that I decided to take action on. So, yeah, it's big things.
Amazing. Well, the suspense is killing me. I'm going to be following your journey. I'm going to make sure that everyone who's watched this episode knows how to follow you. You offer so much free, high-value content. People can learn so much for you. So I highly encourage folks to make sure they're tapped into your Instagram, the things that you're offering on Facebook, and we'll make sure that we get those folks connected to you, Lauren.
Oh my gosh, and everyone who's listening to this on the catch up, like for the Impact School podcast, you guys need to go follow Altair. Your content's awesome. I love everything that you're about. So I'm grateful that we connected. And I'm just so proud that you're like able to take this online, because the work that you do is so important and so underlooked. So yeah, I'm grateful for you.
Underlooked for now, baby, but everyone keep paying attention.
I love it.
Okay, such a pleasure, Lauren. Have an amazing day. I know you're going to kill it.
See you later. Bye.
Okay, ciao, babe.